Well, let's take you to this now. Free State Stadium gates have opened for supporters to enter for the 2026 World Cup qualifiers match between South Africa and Zimbabwe. Supporters came out in their numbers. And now let's cross back to our reporter Makgala Masiteng, who joins us now live from the Free State Stadium in Bloemfontein. Of course, you have been there pretty much the whole day. Just paint the picture for us and where exactly you are, in that part of the stadium, because earlier on, Makgala, you, of course, spoke to some very excited fans to be there.
Well, Unati, what I can tell you is that the mood indeed has been activated. As you can see behind me, I'm standing with some of the supporters from South Africa as well as Zimbabwe. Of course, we're saying this game is very important because if you check the Group C, the numbers there are very tight. So whichever team that wins today has that opportunity to make it up to the top of Group C. So also when South Africa will be facing Zimbabwe, we know there will be another game again playing between Lesotho against Rwanda. So I'm just going to bring in some of the supporters just to get what they are expecting now that they are here. I'm going to start with Zimbabwe. Yes, what are you expecting? I can see that you are a big supporter of Zimbabwe. Yes,
we came all the way from Harare to come here to South Africa. We just don't come here. We're expecting a very big win. It's a different ball together. It's very different from the game for Lesotho. This game is very important for us. It's a breaking rise between South Africa and Zimbabwe. It has always been a tough match, but I'm telling you, after the game, Zimbabwe is going to win the match.
Well, there you have it. Zimbabwe is very confident, but I've mixed them. You see, Zimbabwe is confident. They're saying they're taking it. How are you feeling?
I think it's going to be an exciting game, very exciting. And taking into account South Africa performed really well, we have caught. So I think the boys are going to make us proud today. 3-0 Bafana Bafana. Thank you.
There you have it. I want to bring in another supporters here, Zimbabwe and South Africa. Let me start with you. How are you feeling? What is the mood? What are you expecting? Zimbabwe is very confident that it's taking it.
We are going to take this one because this is my first time being in Bafana Bafana soccer match. So I believe that they're going to make it. They're going to make us proud.
What makes you believe that surely they will make it?
Because believing is a very strong word. So I feel like they're going to take this one. I believe in them. I truly believe in them.
Thank you very much. That is another supporter. Let me bring in Zimbabwe here. How are you feeling? What are you expecting tonight?
I'm feeling happy. I'm expecting 3 points. I'm expecting 3 points. Because as you can see, like on the log, we've got 2 points and we are last. We are on the bottom of the log. So what I'm saying is this. Meaning that we are on the bottom of the log, it doesn't mean that we are going to lose this game. And all I can say, and all I can tell people that are at home, those that believe in betting, just go to the betting houses and then stake all your money on Zimbabwe. I'm sure by the end of the day, you thank me.
Thank you very much. Just shortly, let me bring you. What is the mood?
The mood, we are bringing Zimbabwe down. South Africa, we are rooting for South Africa.
You?
Go Hugo Bruce, we believe in you.
Thank you very much. There you have it. Those are some of the fans here at the Free State Stadium. Of course, the mood has been activated. As we have mentioned, Tunati, this is a very important game, as you've had some of the fans indicating there. Whichever team that will make it tonight has that chance, of course, of making it to the top of the Group C. As I've mentioned, that is a very tight game tonight. Of course, it will be this game, and also so there will be another game and Rwanda.
They're being drowned, of course, by very enthusiastic supporters. Of course, as she said, the mood has certainly been activated. Let's now bring in News24 Sports reporter as well as SABC Sports analyst Khanyiso Tshwaku just to weigh in on the Bafana Bafana game this evening, kicking off at 6 p.m. in Bloemfontein. Khanyiso, thank you so much for your time. Now, earlier, of course, we heard from Bafana Bafana Hugo Bruce saying that this is actually going to be such a tough match and very close call. Just talk to us, what is at stake, particularly for Bafana Bafana?
Look, with Lesotho playing a concurrent game, I think they're playing in Durban against Rwanda, it becomes very important that Bafana Bafana actually win and get 3 points. Remember that yesterday Nigeria lost 2-1 to Benin. and Benin were initially bottom of the group now. So that result actually changes a lot because Nigeria now have played 4. They have yet to win a game, which is huge when you look at the context of this group. Because when you looked at how this group was set up, one would have thought that whenever you have a big team like Nigeria, it always becomes easy to point out the fact that Nigeria will qualify. But when you look at how this group has panned out, Bafana beat Benin up front, then they went and lost to Rwanda away, then they drew a game against Nigeria that they should have won, as Benin showed that Nigeria eminently beatable. So it becomes important. I mean, Zimbabwe now, I mean, if you saw what happened in their game against Lesotho in Orlando, where a fan actually stormed the field and tried to solve the coach because they were so unhappy with how that game panned out, and Zimbabwe lost the game 2-0. So we find this group now in a position where Lesotho of all teams are topping the group. And remember that it's far easier to qualify for the World Cup when you top your group. And then because if you finish second, you go into a pot of playoffs. And even then, you still have to finish very well as a second place team. So the best way, because I can't say it's the easiest. Yeah. The best way to control your fate in the qualifying group is to draw away at the most and then win your home games, which is what Bafana now need to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would imagine this is weighing heavily on the coach, and I mean, so much pressure for him too. What then do you think are some of the key strategies that he would then need to be introducing in this particular match?
It's not even a key strategy. I think especially with the technical team, they've done a lot of research behind their teams. You look at how they went about AFCON, that you could see that the research was done on the opponents. The problem was finishing. Finishing was again a problem in Uyo on Friday. I mean, Pesita missed a gilt-edge opportunity. I mean, Timbazwane did score a very good one, but the inability to convert opportunities is probably the one that separates the good from the great. I mean, Bafana are a very good side, but what can and will stop them from qualifying are one soft moments at the back, because even in conceding that equalizer, a soft moment, and they conceded such an inopportune time early in the second half. So the important part is to just lessen the soft moments at the back, number one. And also when they get into the last third, they need to convert opportunities, because at the end of the day, it's the goals that matter. Even if Bafana win 1-0, what they need are the 3 points, but if they're able to convert opportunities, we saw, especially when they beat Namibia in the AFCON game, where they didn't have a lot of opportunities, but they converted the ones that came their way. If they're able to do so again in this particular game, fans will have a lot more to smile about it. I mean, look, it's a big game for Bloem. I mean, you look at how happy all those fans are. Remember that Bloem lost also the game back in 2010 when South Africa played France.
Exactly. I was going to say, this is actually Bafana's first competitive match in Bloemfontein since the 2010 World Cup, we're being told. So I would imagine they're also very, very anxious, to be coming back. The fans are excited, as you also said. So what would this then mean for them mentally?
Look, it's probably one of the games where you feel that this is probably a home game for Bafana. I think SAFA spokesperson Nawan Krog actually sent a message on the SAFA WhatsApp group saying that 27,000 tickets already sold. They're hoping for 30,000. Wow. Remember that it's a 41,000 capacity stadium, so 30,000 fans, especially with how cold it is in Bloemfontein. Now, it's cold here in Joburg at the moment. The fact that they'll turn up 30,000 fans for a Bafana game is massive. And I think also it becomes very important that as much as Bafana have played, and I think one of my colleagues, Tashik Vardin, wrote quite a very definitive story explaining where Bafana have played the bulk of the games. Understandably so, they've played the bulk of the games up here in Gauteng. There's a lot more accessibility to grounds. There isn't quite an issue with teams coming in and out. But again, a national team needs to play around the country. I mean, it's quite heartening, it's quite enlightening to see that Bafana have moved. Yes, I think there is the issue of municipalities and provinces having to bid for games. I mean, there's broadcast rights behind games. There's money is put into football or any sport for that matter. So provinces and cities need to bid for matches. But the most important thing is that Bafana aren't now playing in Joburg. They're playing in Bloemfontein. They haven't been there 14 years, and the game is well received. I hopefully when they do play a game in Polokwane, where they do play a game in Bombela, understandably so, because of COVID restrictions, they needed to play a lot of the games in Johannesburg for a lot of lesser movement reasons. But now that we're seemingly back to what was somewhere close to old normal, we hopefully will start to see Bafana games not just being in Bloem, moving to places like PE, maybe Cape Town, hopefully. Kimberley, for example, Kimberley have only ever hosted one Bafana Bafana game. And probably if you want to take a West Africa team is to Kimberley, because it may be a familiar climb for a South African player, but I mean, if you get to Kimberley, Kimberley is probably a very different South African city as compared to, let's say, your Bloemfontein, your Mbombela, and your Polokwanes.
And I'm glad you mentioned the numbers in terms of the people that are actually filling the stadium. Of course, they haven't reached the 40,000 that you speak of.
Yeah.
But what does that symbolize for Bafana Bafana? I mean, not too long ago, you would throw Bafana Bafana name and people would actually not be that excited. But I mean, what we're seeing in Bloemfontein is actually so encouraging, especially for our boys. So, I mean, is this the change of times for Bafana Bafana? Does this signal good times?
People love a winning team. Let's make no mistake about it.
Absolutely.
People love a winning team. And you could see the upswell of support when Bafana Bafana shrugged off their 2-0 loss against Guinea. They beat, after Owen, they beat Namibia. Then they drew the third game against Tunisia, eliminating Tunisia. All of a sudden now there was a bit of belief that, hey, Bafana Bafana in the playoff stage. That's something that's not quite common. Yes, they did reach the round of 16 in Egypt. But then when they beat Morocco, all of a sudden, and remember when South Africa, when Morocco came here, I think there was a crowd of over 55,000 people at FNB Stadium. So people will also come and watch a big team. Let's not be kidding ourselves. I mean, when Nigeria come here, it's going to be interesting to see where that game will be played and how many people turn up. And you also realize that there's quite a significant Nigerian diaspora in South Africa. So I mean, even with Zimbabwe in particular, it's going to be interesting to see how many Zimbabweans when the return game is played. Because I suspect that because of ground issues with the Rufaro Stadium not being in good enough shape, I think one of my colleagues in Jabulo Ngiti actually hinted in his story that a lot of the teams in Africa have to play here in South Africa. And I suspect that Zimbabwe will have to play their home qualifier against South Africa in South Africa. So one will see that there will be a significant Zimbabwean attendance. I think it would be the same case when they play in Bloemfontein.
All right, fantastic. Khanyiso, thank you so much for that. Of course, a pleasure speaking to you and just getting your analysis. Khanyiso Tshwaku, of course, is a sports analyst. And of course, 6 p.m., that's where we are going to be meeting and rooting for Bafana Bafana playing against Zimbabwe in Bloemfontein, 6 p.m. Catch it all on the SABC channels. Of course, this is where we have to end the show. Thank you so much for watching. SA Today returns tomorrow, same time at 2 p.m. From me and the team, Kamnand.